So you just have to press enter.
What happened?
You want to click through it?
I have no idea what's going on.
Come on over here, group members.
I don't even know what's going on. Page.
What he said, we just have to click enter, right?
Yeah, just press
This is
enter.
just showing this.
Oh no. So you have to display it. This is where the site is. So you have it won't do anything over here.
Oh, okay. So I'm looking up here whenever I
you're
make
looking over
anything.
here. So here's the.
Boom.
So you'll have to press the mouse and let's go.
Okay.
So one of you can work on the talk about it, and one can navigate.
Okay. You want to navigate or you want me to?
You navigate.
Okay.
All right, guys. So who in the room is hungry right now? Okay, that's good to know. I didn't think it was going to be that many. So somehow my first group project was food oriented, and somehow this wasn't even my idea. We came up with another food oriented application, affectionately called Night Out Part 2.
Just kidding.
Just kidding.
Just kidding. It's called Foodception. Basically, not really though. So it's called Foodception, and so the idea behind it is we wanted to prompt users with 2 different surveys depending on what their plans were for the evening. So if they were staying in, you take a survey and you get a recipe for something to make. And then if you decide to go out, you take another survey based on what you're in the mood to get, and then it generates a list of restaurants based on that search. Or based on that survey, I mean. So where do you want to start?
Perfect. We'll start by going out. So we are going out.
It's a night out.
And so, let's see. What's the zip code around here? 85233. And what kind of food are we in the mood for? Chinese? I heard Chinese, and I love Chinese, so we'll do Chinese. And how far are we willing to travel? 5 miles? Trying to stay close by?
Hey, we're going out, but we're not going that out.
And what are we thinking? What are we thinking price-wise? We thinking moderate?
Ultra high end, super high end.
It's Mom's birthday, okay?
It's Mom's birthday.
It's the most
We're not
expensive-
developers yet, guys. Come on.
Yeah.
Okay, and then any special considerations? Gender-neutral restrooms is what I heard over there.
Welcome
Okay,
to 2019, fam.
so based off of our parameters that we entered, we have our first one, which is called Dim Sum Cafe, and then it will give us the rating. It'll also give us the phone number, the price, and then it'll also give you the address right there. And the website that we have listed right here will just take you to
It'll take you to the Yelp page.
Yelp page for it. So then this is our next one, Chengdu Delight Chinese Cuisine.
God damn, I'm hungry.
And then the last one is Let's Eat Noodles. So what we're doing is we are storing our input, our user input. So we're storing the name, the zip code into our database. We were trying to initially store more than that in our database. And the issue we were having was storing it in the database and then pulling it out to then search our APIs.
Yeah, so it's basically like kind of what you were asking about. We had to, kudos go to Jeff for sorting out a lot of our API calls.
Yeah.
So he set up a call to Yelp and then also the recipe one, which returns results. And also Danielle helped us put this together. And then we have like a route that queries our API, that queries the other API, and then it just has a callback function that returns all of the information back through. And then we take that, parse through it, and then use that to dynamically display whatever your search is when you hit submit.
Do we want to do recipes?
So we'll do a recipe. What does that mean? Okay. right, so you come home. For some reason, you still have energy after eating food, after going out. You want a dessert. I don't know how to use Max.
Oh, yeah. Use mouse.
I don't have any special diet restrictions, so bring it on. So here we have a recipe. Gives you the ingredients here, and then it gives you the instructions on how to create it.
And if you want to highlight this and the challenges that we had in regards to the recipes,
My
as you
God.
can see, there's only one recipe. I'll let Jeff take this.
Yeah, so I kind of wish I had the, the idea for the AP keys that cycle through, because the site we use seems to be kind of set up to make money. So they give you, I think it's just 25 or 50 calls per day. They set it up so you can't actually get to the data until you've actually gone through at least 2 API calls. So from the first API call, we have to extract recipe ID, and we're calling from the back end. Then we're passing that ID from the front end back through our routes into our eventually into our second API call into the URL there, and then finally bringing back a JSON that we can get some actual information on it. Hadn't worked with APIs in the back end, so that was definitely challenging. And Daniel, thank you so much for your help on that. And doing it not only from the back end, but also with dynamic parameters, where you're using the search parameters from your user to dynamically change everything on the backside. Run into a lot of scope problems and a lot of parsing issues with trying to get that done. So.
And yeah, I think that's basically the idea of it. There's quite a bit of stuff that we would like to
Yeah, there was a whole bunch of
obviously
stuff
get to.
that we wanted to do. We kind of bit off a lot more than we thought we were biting off, because it's food. But so the technology that we were going to be using, that was like a new technology, was something called Auth0. And basically it uses Passport.js to interact with like a separate website that gives you a dashboard. It gives you like a database. You can hook up your own database. You can do all this really cool stuff. And we could get it to go through the flow. You could sign into a user. You could go to the dashboard of the site for your web application. You could see that users were signing in. We even hooked it up so you could sign in with your GitHub. It was super cool, but I was having trouble recognizing the user throughout the pages. So like when the user was actually on the site, I couldn't get that part of the functionality down. So we decided to opt to just have our MVP be the searches and everything like that.
It looked really cool when it was working though.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it was so cool, and I want to go back and figure it out.
I think most problems I had was with the database, with the SQLize. We, as Aaron said, we were trying to store way more.
Mm-hmm.
We were hoping to have stored all the answers and the user, and I created through SQLize the associations, but then because we didn't know really how to figure out the API calls, then kind of got stuck in our own time, and I just feel I didn't have really that, the SQLize is just still hard for me, so yeah. But we were able to store the user.
So if we had more time,
Yeah, if we had more time, so we were very close to it.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
like in that room.
I think that's probably one of our
But-
biggest challenges was time and time management.
Yes.
Yeah.
I
Totally.
think a couple more days we'd have.
Yes.
Because, I mean, just this morning we finished coding YouTube, which if
Yeah.
we just had had some HTML to actually launch it, we could launch that.
Yes, that.
We're going to put some direct maps
Yeah.
with Google. We had all that code for that as well. So, like I said, we all had challenges for time and getting something done. So,
Great
I think
ideas.
with the effort we put in, we really had
Yes.
something.
A lot.
I mean, the whole we learned a lot this
Yeah.
project
Yes.
that is not lost on us at all. Like I've learned so much. Like just sitting with Danielle the other day and coding for like an hour
That was my
on like
goal.
making all of our APIs work. That was like that was grueling, I have to say. And then last night we were trying to figure out how to dynamically display all the results we were getting back. Oh my god. Anyway, that was then. This is now.
Are there any questions for us? Is anyone hungrier now?
What was like your biggest like win?
I mean, honestly, at 11 last night, I felt like our biggest win was getting everything to look like that.
No. Okay, so our biggest win was last night in the like near midnight. Jeff was like, "Yeah, so it won't deploy to Heroku," and we're like, "Okay, that's not good. Like, if anything, that's the one thing that we want, honestly." And then this morning, I'm like driving here at like 8 o'clock in the morning because we're coding for 2 hours before this. I get a Slack from Jeff being like, "I figured out the Heroku thing," and I'm just like, "My boy Jeff!" So that was a win.
Definitely a big win.
Yeah, I kind of agree with the with getting the images
There were
getting stuff
expletives.
rendered to the HTML, just because of the fact that at that point we were so deep into the time there, and that's really the biggest part is the visual piece. So for me, that's probably the biggest one that we were able to get that, even though we were so far behind on time.
Any other questions?
Comments, concerns? You guys want to do one more search so we get an idea where we're going after this?
Hey, we know we're going to Chick-fil-A. Doesn't matter.
That's true.
Cool. Thank you, guys.
Thanks.
Ish. Pulled up enough to present, right?
Yeah. So it's I open it over here. You just have to press enter if you want. It's and then or you can do it from it's up to you. So you'll have to control it over here. So somebody should be doing it over here. Let me put this more down.
Alright, so we'll go ahead and get things going real quick. Or slowly. Thank you. Monday, Tuesday. Alright, so thank you everyone for coming out here today on a Saturday. So we want to present to you Subscription Manager, which is what we have tailored towards everyone who wants to cut cords, but is a little afraid to, simply because it's really hard to manage all your subscriptions, really. Like, I know just about everybody in here has a subscription to something, right? All right. It just only makes sense at this point in our life. I mean, literally, cable. Thank you. Boom, boom. It just keeps coming. Bam.
Hey, you can manage it with this app.
So this is obviously somewhat of a problem, right? So pretty much what we're trying to solve is just a place to kind of organize that. And we want to keep it simple, but at the same time make it very, advantageous to have. I'm more of a Windows guy. So this is the talent. We got the data master. It's Reggie. I held down mostly, we kind of helped out each other a lot, but the database, where we had the authenticator, yes, George, nobody gets past him without a straight face. We have the creator. This dude can put up HTML like no other, real quick, front end all day. And the prodigy. I don't even have to say anything. That's it right there. Yeah. If you know this guy, then you know. We had a real good time working on this project. Yeah. Hit it.
I was 18.
So pretty much our mission statement is kind of what we kind of discussed a little bit earlier. We just want to control your subscriptions, right? You don't want to let your subscriptions control you. It's very important that your subscriptions don't control you. All right, so the problem we're trying to solve, we want to stop subscriptions from ruling the world. It's like Godzilla. when you let him out. He becomes your pet. All right. So we're gonna kind of go over how everything kind of works, and then we'll get into the demonstration. So pretty much you sign in, log in, of course. It's pretty easy. Of course, geriatrics or the older population. No shout outs. We want to kind of tailor this towards two, so we want to make it very easy and functional for them as well. So we kind of keep it very simple. So you log in, you add a subscription, due date, an amount, and you get notified when things are due. So that's doing great. I'm not totally computer literate, just Apple literate.
How you go next?
So, what everyone's wondering, right? What does this have to do with subscriptions?
We didn't even actually build a website. This is all we have.
Okay. You guys
So
want
this
to
is the technology that we kind of went over. I can kind of jump into this a little bit.
Yeah, that's what we used. So everything we've been working on. So kind of the new stuff is we were implementing a cron job, so a timer that would just run on the server that would kick off every set amount of time. And then we introduced also a tool called SendGrid, which would allow us to create an email template and have an email server to send off that email. On top of using Google Auth, which was a big feat that George took on, and he can kind of talk more about that.
Yeah, so I use Passport. So I use Passport to do the authentication, and then to get the user signed in, we use Passport Authentication 2.0 by using Google Auth, which is awesome. So we don't have any of the information. All the information is pulled from Google Plus's API. So when you see the website, when you sign in, are you able to click on your Google account? Because everyone has a Google account. Raise your hand if you have a Google account. Almost everyone. Yeah, so everyone has a Google account. So from there, we're able to pull your first name, last name, your email address, and your picture as well. One thing I wasn't able to get to is putting all the picture on the website so when you sign in. But what's awesome is with the email address that we pulled from the Google Plus API, what Kyle was using with the cron job, we're able to send notifications when your bills are due. So a week before your bills are due, what the cron job does is sends you a notification like, hey, your Spotify bill is due in a week. Make sure you have money in your account. So we pull that email address from the Google Plus API, and the cron job does this job of notifying our users that, hey, your bills are due. So taking management to the next level. Yep, and then we're done.
Sweet.
Yeah, demonstration.
Yeah. Someone has a brownie subscription.
Alright.
All right. Yeah.
You want me to drive?
Yeah.
I don't know the password to
I'm
log
gonna
into
jack
my
it up
Google.
I get it. I got you.
Yeah, I could do it. Then when you want to put in your information, we can do that.
No, it's okay. It's so good. I just don't know. I can barely see.
So that was the homepage. That's when you log into subman.com.
Everybody
That's
see
when you
that?
see login page.
Spam it.
Oh, you'll have. I'll have to do it. You can't.
Oh, okay. See?
Okay.
Yo, see, the Mac keyboard is a little suspect. I just have to press extremely hard. What? Oh no, the cat.
Yeah, we need the prodigy over here.
Go back to the main page. I'm gonna log in on mine. Sorry.
Oh, that was my password, dog.
I knew I forgot mine, so I didn't want to appear. That's yours. I didn't want to look like that. So.
Dang.
Sorry, putting you on the spot. But usually when you do log into the site, it stores your password, so you guys don't have to do this.
Really? It's storing the password?
Oh,
No.
because you log in with Google, because if Google's on your, because it's incognito.
Oh.
So you know how you're signed into Google Chrome, you're able.
Not in your database, right?
No, not in the database. No, we don't save your passwords. Dang, you guys worried for a second. I'm Russian, but not that
Can we
Russian.
kind of talk about the layout?
You guys got the joke.
So once you get logged in, the process, because it is incognito, if you use Google Chrome or whatever and you're signed into your account, it'll just automatically recognize that you're signed in and just click login. You click the Google account. Google checks to see if you already have an active session on the system. Dumps you into this page with all of your subscriptions that you have. And then from here, you can add a new subscription. So somebody add a subscription for me.
So let's add Spotify.
Do it from here.
Oh,
And
I'm
then
just
on
using
part of
tabs.
this, you have different categories. Something that we would want to add in later to the project in the table is to be able to have categories so you can filter and manage them that way. That's an expensive Spotify. So then when you add it,
Oh, it's the pound.
so there's some odd things with the routing still. So if we just remove the routing pound and
What? Whatever part?
remove pound and just go to that stuff.
There you go.
Yeah, so for some reason the routing doesn't refresh. We can test it locally and on Jay's computer for some reason on live it works. So we're still trying to figure that out. But ideally you can then take the action on edit or delete, and then based on the date, some of the things that we're working with is moment.js to take that date value, recognize if it is going to be due in the next week or so. If it is, then you'll get an email that will be sent to you and show you, hey, you have subscriptions due, log in, you can see which subscription is due on what date. So,
And then once you log out, it takes you back to the main page.
I think before you hit log out, the things to add and improve on, of course, is using the search filter to filter the subscriptions so you can get the exact ones you want.
Right.
And then our action buttons, those aren't executing anything right now. We're having trouble just getting data out of the database. So future steps would be taking and executing edit or delete to actually remove the subscription or allow you to update the subscription as well.
Thank God, someone to Google Auth. And then for the Google Auth, adding like an avatar, like you putting your profile picture on the top right where you click it gives you a sign out button. And also where you're able to view your information as well, just so you have the right email address, just so make sure that's confirmed, because that's our main way of contact with the user. So that's one thing to add as well. And then you sign out and you go back to the main page. Any questions?
Let us have it.
It'd be kind of neat if you guys were able to somehow integrate a way to pay them. You can do
Right.
that too.
No, for sure. There's a lot of APIs
Pay now or-
involved with that. No, for sure. Cause
Yeah, I know that one.
yeah, we're,
Cool.
yeah, definitely teach it that.
So the due date column,
Yes.
that's the number of days remaining. How do you?
That's
is
the
that
day
what-
of
No, that's the day when it's due.
It's recurring.
Right. So you are calculating, like, let's suppose at the end of the month my subscription ends, so I have like 15 days, let's suppose. Is that what the number is?
No, it's the day of the month that the subscription is actually due. So if it said
Oh.
2, it's the second of every
Okay.
month. Right now, that's the
That's
other
okay. You
thing.
don't have to sign it.
We're on a
Okay.
we're on a monthly on a monthly scenario. So the other thing would be being able to take it and say, all right, that subscription's quarterly, that subscription's yearly, and then be able to calculate all of the different variations to say, as we comb through all the subscriptions in the database, to identify that, hey, that started last quarter, it's due now in a week for this quarter.
Why is it called Summit?
Subscription manager.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's more green. Can you put that logo?
Oh yeah, for sure. It's in the PowerPoint.
Which logo from the tower?
PowerPoint, yeah.
It's the next
That one.
Yeah, can someone tell me about
I mean,
Oh, this.
you don't watch Netflix with a snorkel on?
No, I mean, like, I love it, but I'm also kind of scared of it. It's very interesting to sue.
Yeah.
Well, he's a sub man. I'm trying to know. Who did this? Is what I want to know.
Reggie.
You know,
It's
sometimes it's
cool.
just
I like
right
it.
off the top.
Like,
Sometimes
sub,
right off the
great.
top.
It's very unique. I like it.
Yeah, it's good.
Reggie, you should have presented that.
Short
Right,
story.
that would have been no for sure.
It means it keeps you from going underwater.
Yeah, yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, we just want to, keep you from
Put
sinking
it on the main, on the
or drowning. Yeah,
That's exactly what we thought.
yeah. Right off the top. Thanks, man. Wouldn't have talked to you afterwards.
Yeah.
We'll do.
So from the new technology perspective, is it SendGrid?
Yes.
What does SendGrid do again?
It is an API for an HTML server and templating engine.
Okay.
So it's something that came built or an add-on in Heroku. So we just used their API, built a template manager in their system, referenced the template ID out of SendGrid, and passed that to the API.
We did have a little bit of issue. Well, of course, the data master had a little bit of issue with the foreign keys and just kind of trying to anticipate what Sequelize was going to do for us when we're working in the local database. So, but everything kind of turned out really good. I enjoy working with these guys. So.
Any questions?
I think we talked every single day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
We made up a lot.
and we kind of sorry.
Okay, go ahead.
Are you asking a specific role, or just how did we function?
How we progress, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Heroku.
Yeah.
Okay.
Roku as of
30 minutes ago.
15 minutes ago.
I mean, we got early on Travis integrated and ESLink integrated, and so we worked as a team to make sure those are all resolved. And then Travis started building our deployments, and Heroku was building automatically for us. And then we changed something last night, and it quit deploying, quit working. So we spent since last night all the way up till 5 minutes before we came up figuring that out. So, that was some of the biggest challenges.
All right, let's take a 5-minute bio break and then stretch, and then we'll come back and we'll start with the next one. All right, 5 minutes. Send me the link and presentation.
They found some people out there. That was so weird. I was like, they did the best one.